I am a billionaire CEO, and my only passions are making money and enjoying the finer things in life. But it seems like every woman in my orbit has completely lost her mind. My new intern caused a scene at a crucial business dinner to save a steak. A self-proclaimed mystic healer from the mountains insists I have a hidden ailment and needs to treat me with acupuncture. And my executive assistant, who calls herself a life gamer, is constantly whispering, "System, help me," to an invisible entity. Since you all seem more interested in playing out your romance novel fantasies than being functional human beings, don't blame me, Julian Croft, for playing dirty and sending you exactly where you belong. A psychiatric hospital, staring at the sizzling slab of prime A5 Wagyu on the plate before me. Then at the teary-eyed intern across the table who looked like she'd just lost a parent, I found myself deep in thought. I am Julian Croft, CEO of Croft Enterprises. My net worth is in the billions. I stand at 6'2", and I possess an 8-pack of abs and a face that looks like it was chiseled by a Greek god. And just 10 minutes ago, I woke up. I realized I've been living in a world stitched together from every tired trope in the romance genre. According to the script, I'm supposed to be a walking, talking ATM, a brain-dead CEO who would gladly offer up a kidney or bankrupt a rival company just because the heroine felt a slight chill. The problem is, I'm a rationalist. I value my life, and I love my money more. Mr. Croft, how could you eat moo cows? The intern, a woman named Lily Meadows, lunged toward the table, shielding the steak with her body. Tears streamed down her face like a broken faucet, impressively managing to avoid my bespoke suit and landing squarely on the tablecloth. He was a living creature. Think of the pain he must have suffered before he died. How can you stand to cut him up and put him in your stomach? Don't you have a conscience? Lily's voice was filled with anguish, as if I were about to devour her firstborn, not a piece of beef. Seated opposite me was Mr. Schmidt, our partner from Germany on a new billion-dollar project. He paused, his knife and fork hovering in midair. He looked at me, bewildered, and asked in heavily accented English, "Julian, is this a demonstration of your company's corporate culture?" I took a deep breath and gracefully set down my wine glass. Seriously, do all these romance novel heroines have brains made of cotton candy? I'm here to close a billion-dollar deal, not to watch a live performance of PETA's greatest hits. "Lily," I said, my voice calm, a carefully measured cocktail of disdain and indifference. "Are you trying to tell me you're a vegetarian?" Lily lifted her head, her big, clear eyes filled with defiance. "All life is sacred. We should love every living thing. Mr. Croft, you're so wealthy. Why can't you spare this one cow?" I nodded slowly and pointed to the shoes on her feet. "Then why couldn't you spare the cow they made those from?" Lily froze. What? Your shoes are leather. Your handbag is lambskin. Even the tissue you just used to wipe your tears was made from cutting down trees. I stared at her, my expression like I was observing a particularly dumb amoeba. Plants are living things, too. When you eat a salad, do you ever hear the lettuce screaming? When you breathe, do you ever consider that the air is full of living microorganisms? Is this some kind of speciesism? You only care about cows, but not bacteria? Lily's jaw dropped, her face turning pale. That's not. You're twisting my words. Mr. Schmidt. I turned to the stunned German and switched to fluent German. My apologies for the interruption. This appears to be a significant bug in our hiring process. I assure you, this level of low-intelligence life form will not be seen within a mile of Croft Enterprises again. With that, I pressed the service button on the table. 2 imposing bodyguards appeared instantly. "Please escort this animal lover, Ms. Meadows, out of the building," I said, calmly slicing a piece of the steak and putting it in my mouth. "Delicious. Since she's so passionate about animals, send her to a factory farm upstate to get some real-world experience. If she refuses, terminate her employment for cause and see to it that she's blacklisted from the industry. Julian Croft, you're a monster. You're heartless. You have no soul. You'll get what's coming to you." Lily's shrill screams echoed down the hallway as the bodyguards dragged her out like a sack of potatoes. Mr. Schmidt wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead. "Julian, your methods are unique, but I appreciate your decisiveness." "Not at all," I said, raising my glass with a slight smile. "For people who aren't mentally sound, we have a term for them: workplace safety hazards." After seeing Mr. Schmidt off and signing the billion-dollar contract, I returned to the office in a good mood. The moment I stepped into my private elevator, however, something felt off. Huddled in the corner was a woman in a janitor's uniform. She wore thick-rimmed glasses and kept her head down, clutching a mop, but she reeked of cheap perfume. Based on my years of extensive research into CEO romance novels, this was no ordinary cleaning lady. And I was right. The second the elevator doors closed, the woman snapped her head up, ripped off her glasses, and revealed a face that, while attractive, was clearly overfilled with Botox. She tossed the mop aside and lunged at me. "Julian, I know you're lonely deep down. Let me be the one to warm your cold, empty heart." My reflexes were sharp. I sidestepped her clumsy advance, grabbing her arm and twisting it behind her back in a clean takedown. "Ow! Ow! Let go! You're breaking it!" the woman shrieked. "Who are you? How did you get in here? Is my entire security team on a lunch break?" My face darkened. The security system at Croft Enterprises was clearly due for a complete overhaul if any wannabe actress could sneak into my private elevator. The woman was wailing in pain, but still tried to strike a dramatic pose. "Julian, it's me, Chloe Reed. You saved me at that bar the other night. You told me if I ever needed anything, I could come find you." I remembered. In the original script, there was a scene like this. The old me gets drunk at a dive bar, offhandedly saves a waitress from some drunkards, and gives her a business card, telling her to call if she needs help. Naturally, the woman latches on, insisting on becoming his live-in maid, which eventually leads to the whole secretly pregnant and runs away plotline. But I'm not the old me. I'm a germaphobe, and I have a severe allergy to stupidity. A bar. I scoff, tightening my grip. I don't frequent low-class establishments. Furthermore, my business cards are gold-plated and cost $50 apiece to produce. Do you really think I'd hand one out to a complete stranger? It was you. How can you just forget me like that? Chloe cried, getting desperate. I snuck into Croft Enterprises and got a job as a janitor just to see you again. I've been cleaning toilets for a month for a chance to meet you. That just speaks to your professional incompetence. If you've been cleaning toilets for a month and haven't been promoted, it means you have no talent for it. The verbal slap was merciless. Just then, the elevator doors opened. My executive assistant, Kevin Smith, yes, I appreciate simple, effective names, was standing there. He was so startled by the scene that he dropped the files he was holding. "B-boss, are you wrestling?" "Kevin," I said, releasing the woman and disgustedly wiping my hands with a handkerchief before tossing it in the trash. "Inform the head of security that he has 10 minutes to pack his desk and get out. Also call the police." "The police?" Kevin stammered. Chloe was also stunned, staring up at me from the floor in disbelief. You're calling the cops on me? But I only did this because I love you." "You love me?" I looked down at her, my gaze imperious. "You trespassed in a secure commercial building and attempted to assault the CEO of a publicly traded company. I have every reason to believe you're either a corporate spy or a terrorist attempting a kidnapping for ransom. No, I just want to be your maid. I want to cook for you, do your laundry, have your..." Silence. A chill ran down my spine. I employ a Michelin-starred chef. I own state-of-the-art laundry machines. And there's a line of women from here to Paris who would love to have my children. Who do you think you are? Furthermore, I said, pointing to the security camera in the elevator, your little assault was recorded in high definition. Kevin, send the footage to our legal department. I want them to sue this woman until she's bankrupt and run a full background check. If one of our competitors send her, I want them crushed. Chloe collapsed completely, her eyes vacant, as if her entire worldview had just shattered. This is all it took. We were just getting started. A real CEO would never let a toilet cleaner move into his 5,000 square foot penthouse just because she muttered, "I love you." That's not romance. That's a home invasion. It's a complete disregard for germs and basic security protocols. After dealing with Chloe, I was sitting in my spacious, sunlit office, feeling utterly exhausted. It's tough being a rational CEO these days. Not only do you have to run a multi-billion-dollar empire, but you also have to constantly fend off an army of delusional romance novel heroines. Knock, knock, knock. The office door opened. Enter. In walked my chief of staff, Charlotte Finch, a woman who supposedly graduated from Harvard, but whose brain now seemed to be filled with nothing but fluff. Charlotte was poured into a ridiculously tight business suit, her skirt so short it was more of a suggestion. She swayed her hips with every step, as if trying to launch them into orbit. The strangest part was the way she was muttering to herself as she walked. My hearing is excellent, and in the quiet of my office, I could just make out her words. "System, are you sure the accidental fall mission will increase Julian Croft's affection rating by 5 points? You're positive I won't get a concussion? What? There's a side quest to spill red wine on him, and the reward is a seductive gaze skill. I fell silent. Well, what do you know? This one's a life gamer, complete with a system. Now, this was interesting. It explained why my once hyper-efficient and sharp-as-a-tack chief of staff had recently started acting like a complete moron. Her body had been hijacked by a player with a system-like cheat code. Charlotte positioned herself about 10 feet from my desk. Then suddenly, her ankle twisted, and she let out a painfully fake shriek. Mr. Croft, watch out. According to her script, she was supposed to land perfectly in my arms. I would catch the subtle scent of her perfume. My heart would instantly race, and I would be overcome with emotion. However, I'm Julian Croft, and I'm a CEO who is trained in Krav Maga. In the split second it took for Charlotte to begin her fall, I moved with lightning speed, kicking my chair back on its wheels and sliding a clean 6 feet away. Thud! Charlotte hit the marble floor face first. From the sound of it, her nose job didn't stand a chance. Ow, my nose, my implant, she howled, clutching her face. The sound was like a pig being slaughtered. System. What happened? You said he would 100% catch me. This hurts like hell. I chuckled internally. So it was all smoke and mirrors, right down to the fake nose. I stood up, feigning surprise, my face a mask of concern and amusement. Miss Finch, why the grand gesture? I'm your boss, but there's no need to prostrate yourself before me. We're not really into that kind of thing here. Charlotte looked up, 2 streams of blood trickling from between her fingers. Combined with her smeared makeup, she looked like a zombie from a low-budget horror film. She ignored her system's penalty notifications, desperate to salvage the situation. And Mr. Croft, the floor is so slippery, I just lost my footing. You didn't even try to help me up? Help you? I pointed at the floor. Ms. Finch, this is imported Italian marble, polished just this morning. It costs several $1,000s per square foot. Your foundation, nosebleed, and who knows what toxic lipstick have just contaminated it. You're making things very difficult for the cleaning staff. Charlotte was speechless. The system in her head had probably blue-screened. I'm docking your pay, I said, sitting back down and picking up a document. As my chief of staff, you lack the basic life skill of walking. This reflects poorly on the company. I'll be deducting the cost of cleaning the floor, as well as compensation for my emotional distress, from this month's bonus. Emotional distress? She shrieked, her eyes wide. I'm the one who's hurt. You startled me, I said, pointing to my chest with a deadpan expression. I was in the middle of conceptualizing a multi-billion-dollar acquisition. Your little tumble completely shattered my concentration. The loss from that alone is more than you're worth. Also, I pressed the intercom. HR, send someone up here to take Ms. Finch for a workplace injury assessment. If the diagnosis is a loss of balance due to a missing brainstem, I recommend immediate termination. Croft Enterprises does not carry dead weight. Charlotte finally broke. In her mind, she was screaming, system. This Julian Croft is a bug in the code. Is he a CEO or Scrooge reincarnated? I want to quit. I want to go home. Unfortunately for her, the system seemed to have gone offline. As I watched Charlotte being carried out on a stretcher, I took a sip of my coffee. Trying to game me? Maybe in your next life. The only thing that can warm this heart is the color of cold, hard cash. After dealing with 3 consecutive weirdos, I thought I might finally get a moment of peace. But I had underestimated the sheer maliciousness of this romance novel universe. The next morning, as I arrived at the office building, I was swarmed by a horde of reporters. Camera flashes went off like a firestorm, blinding me. Mr. Croft, is it true that you abandoned your pregnant fiancée? Mr. Croft, a source claims you forced a so-called mystic healer to treat your hidden ailment, then tried to silence her afterward. Mr. Croft, what are your thoughts on being labeled a scumbag billionaire? I stopped, my eyes narrowing behind my sunglasses. Mystic healer? Hidden ailment? What script was this now? The crowd parted, and a woman stepped forward. She was dressed in a flowing white dress that looked like it belonged in a historical drama, with a wooden hairpin in her hair and a tattered medicine box slung over her shoulder. She had a certain ethereal beauty, what you might call a blandly pretty face, and she was looking at me with an expression of profound pity. Julian, you don't have to deny it to save face. I know you have a secret you can't speak of. After I treated you with my needles that night, you were clearly cured. Why did you throw me out? And why won't you acknowledge the child I'm carrying? The reporters erupted. Oh my God, Julian Croft really has a secret illness. Is she a real mystic? She looked so otherworldly. He used her and threw her away. What a monster. I looked at this mystic healer who seemed to have wandered out of some forgotten LARPing convention, and a cruel smile touched my lips. Excellent. They're spreading rumors about me now, and they dare to question my manhood. I took off my sunglasses, motioned for my bodyguards to maintain order, and walked up to the healer, looking her up and down. Miss, may I have your name? The healer tilted her chin up, her posture holier than thou. My name is Willow Sky, and I am the 99th disciple of the Whispering Valley. Julian, have you forgotten? The crimson birthmark on your back. Stop. I held up a hand, cutting her off. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I said, turning to the cameras with a pleasant smile. Since Miss Sky has made such a definitive claim, why don't we verify it right here and now? A flicker of panic crossed Willow's eyes, but she quickly composed herself. Verify what? Are you going to undress in public? Vulgar. I shot her a disdainful look. Kevin, get my private medical team down here. Also, have the head of obstetrics from Mount Sinai come over immediately. Tell them to bring the most advanced portable ultrasound machine they have. I pointed to Willow's perfectly flat stomach. Since you claim to be carrying my child, let's perform an ultrasound on the spot. We'll see if you got a baby in there, or if you're just full of hot air. You? How can you humiliate me like this? Willow panicked. The baby is only a month old. An ultrasound won't show anything. I'm a practitioner of ancient medicine. I can tell just by taking a pulse. Oh, 1 month. I chuckled. A month ago, I was on a research expedition in Antarctica, surrounded by penguins. Unless you can fly, did you somehow manage to join me there? A ripple of laughter went through the crowd of reporters. Willow's face turned bright red. Then, there was 2 months ago. I misremembered. 2 months ago, I was in the ICU for 2 weeks due to exhaustion. I was under 24/7 surveillance by a team of nurses. Were you invisible? Did you somehow manage to perform this miraculous conception under the watch of a dozen medical professionals? I pressed forward, my presence overwhelming. Besides, you claim to have cured my hidden ailment with your mystic skills? I took out my phone and dialed my lawyer. Mr. Davis, I want you to immediately file a lawsuit against this woman, Ms. Willow Sky, for defamation, extortion, and practicing medicine without a license. Oh, and while you're at it, check if she actually has a medical license. If not, add that to the list of charges. Practicing medicine illegally, resulting in severe emotional distress. Mostly mine from being disgusted. That's at least 3 years in prison, wouldn't you say? Willow was utterly terrified. She was playing the mystic healer from the mountain script, but she never expected the CEO to completely ignore the tropes. Shouldn't he have either begged for her help or given her a smoldering look and said, Woman, you've caught my attention. Why was this Julian Croft asking about her medical license? I take it back. I don't want to be your doctor. We're not related. Willow gathered her long skirt and tried to run. Trying to leave? I snapped my fingers. Security guards who had been waiting nearby swarmed in, grabbing her as if she were a stray chicken. Why run? The police are already on their way. I put my sunglasses back on and straightened my tie for the cameras. I would like to make an official statement. I, Julian Croft, am in perfect health. I have no hidden ailments. My vitality is, well, we don't need to get into specifics. In short, Croft Enterprises has a zero-tolerance policy for this kind of fraudulent behavior. And one more thing. If anyone else dares to spread rumors that I'm unwell, I will personally acquire their company and give them a real reason to be sick. As the police car arrived, its sirens wailing, and took away the shrieking mystic healer, I felt nothing but a vague sense of amusement. Don't people do any background research before they try to pull a scam these days? Trying to outlogic me? I'm a capitalist. My logic is simple. As long as I have the money, you're in the wrong. After making an example of a few crackpots, the freaks at the office seem to have finally settled down. But life is always full of surprises, or in my case, shocks. One afternoon, I got a call from the family estate. It was my mother, the picture of aristocratic grace. Honey, you need to come home. It's an emergency. My heart tightened. Did the Croft stock plummet? Did my father get caught with an illegitimate child? I rushed back to the Croft estate in Greenwich as fast as I could. The moment I walked in, I saw my mother sitting on a Louis XIV sofa, sipping tea. Across from her sat a high school student in a school uniform with a backpack on. The girl had an innocent look, but her eyes held a fiery, I will charge into hell for my beliefs kind of stubbornness. In other words, she was a handful. Mom, who is this? I unbuttoned my suit jacket, a headache already forming. Please don't tell me this is another blind date you've set up. She's way too young. I'm not interested in a felony charge. Julian. The girl's eyes lit up when she saw me, and she jumped her feet. It's me, Bertie Evans. Don't you remember me? Bertie Evans? What a ridiculous name. I frowned. I don't. If you're selling tutoring packages, the door is to your left. We don't employ child labor here. I'm the student you sponsor, Bertie said excitedly. If it wasn't for you paying for my education, I would have had to drop out and work in a factory. I'm here to repay you. Repay me? I took a cautious step back. In the world of romance novels, repaying a debt of gratitude is usually code for offering oneself up, which is code for causing a mountain of trouble for your company, which is code for turning your entire life upside down. That won't be necessary, I said, cutting her off. I sponsor you so you can get a good education and contribute to society, not to me personally. The best way you can repay me is to get into a good college and not become a menace to the public. No, I'm going to give myself to you, Bertie shouted, the words stunning everyone in the room. I'm going to be your housekeeper. I'll take care of you. I will melt your cold, capitalist heart with my love. My mother, who was enjoying the drama, chimed in. Honey, she seems very sincere. And we are short a conversation partner. I shot my mother a glare. Mom, are you going senile? We have 3 housekeepers and a staff of 20. What do we need a high school student for? I turned back to Bertie, my tone severe. You're in high school? What are you doing here instead of in class? Are you skipping school? Bertie stood her ground. For love, skipping school is nothing. It's my right to love you. You can't take that away from me. You have the right to love, and I have the right to not be harassed. I pulled out my phone and made a call. Hello, is this the dean's office at Northgate Preparatory Academy? This is Julian Croft. That's right, the one who donates 2 new buildings to your campus every year. I'd like to report that one of your students, a Miss Bertie Evans from the sophomore class, is skipping school and is currently trespassing on my property to harass me. Could you please send someone to retrieve her and have them call her parents? Bertie was horrified. You, how could you tell my school? You're a tattletale. You're not a real man. My masculinity doesn't require your validation. I looked at her coldly. Furthermore, given your terminal case of lovesickness, you have severely violated the spirit of my scholarship program. I sponsor underprivileged students who want to change their fate, not gold diggers looking for a shortcut. As of today, the Croft Foundation is ceasing all financial support for your education. If you want to stay in school, you can either get a job or have your so-called true love pay for it. No, you can't do this. You're ruining my life. Bertie burst into tears. I'm not the one ruining your life. The water sloshing around in your head is. I waved a hand dismissively. Alfred, show her out. And from now on, please be more selective about who you let in, especially teenagers who clearly haven't had a taste of the real world. As the butler escorted Bertie out, she gave me a look filled with pure hatred. I knew I had made an enemy, but I didn't care. I'm Julian Croft. I'm a rational CEO. I only do what is right, even if, in their eyes, that makes me a monster. But I never expected that this girl, Bertie Evans, would come back to cause such a massive problem. As I suspected, Bertie, the defiant little flower I sponsored, wasn't going to give up that easily. The next day, the head of my PR department burst into my office with dark circles under his eyes. Boss, it's bad. You're trending on Twitter. I calmly sipped my iced Americano while reviewing the latest financial reports. Oh, has the world finally discovered my dashing good looks? No, it's that Bertie Evans girl. He handed me his tablet. On the screen was a live video stream. In the video, Bertie was wearing her faded school uniform, sitting on a rooftop, which looked suspiciously like a green screen, and sobbing her heart out. The title was pure clickbait. Billionaire predator preys on poor student he sponsored for this. The stream already had over 1 million viewers, and the comments were a firestorm of hate directed at me. What a monster. She's just a high school kid. Does being rich mean you can do whatever you want? Cancel Croft Enterprises. Get Julian Croft off the planet. On camera, Bertie choked back sobs. Mr. Croft told me that as long as I was a good girl, he would keep paying for my school. But I just wanted to study. I didn't want to do those things. So he cut off my scholarship and threatened to have me expelled. I looked at the screen and laughed. Her acting was superb. She deserved an Oscar. The phrase, those things, was a masterstroke of ambiguity. She never specified what they were, but she knew everyone would assume the worst. Mr. Croft, the public perception is turning against us. The stock has already dropped 2 points, my PR head said, sweating profusely. Should we release a statement? A statement? No, that's too slow. I set down my coffee, my eyes turning sharp. If she wants to play hardball, then I'll play to win. I called the legal department. I want all of the scholarship agreements signed by Birdie Evans, every single transaction record, and the security footage from her trespassing on my estate yesterday, compiled and ready. And one more thing. I paused, my voice dropping to a frigid tone. Run a search on Birdie Evans's TikTok and Instagram accounts. I want to know how a poor student who can't afford tuition has enough money for the latest ring light and a professional microphone for live streaming. Also, find out which MCN agency is backing her account. 5 minutes later, the official Croft Enterprises Twitter account posted a pinned tweet. It contained a gallery of 9 images and a high-definition video. The caption was short and brutal. Hey, at Birdie Evans Official, a brain is a terrible thing to waste. You should try getting one. Also, have you looked up the penalties for felony defamation? The evidence included the scholarship agreement, stating in black and white that the recipient must maintain excellent academic standing and refrain from romantic entanglements and non-essential luxury spending. Birdie Evans's transcript, ranked last in her entire school, with a 50% absentee rate. Birdie Evans's bank records, showing a $3,000 donation to a male Twitch streamer and over $2,000 spent on counterfeit luxury goods. Security footage, a crystal clear video of Birdie screaming, "I want to have your babies," and "I'll be your housekeeper," at the front gate of my estate. The narrative flipped instantly. WTF. So that's what she meant by not wanting to do those things? She didn't want to do her homework. She donated to a streamer, using scholarship money to simp for some guy. This girl is unbelievable. She's not a little flower. She's a Venus flytrap. I actually feel bad for Julian Croft. He sponsored an ungrateful brat and got stabbed in the back. I watched the color drain from Birdie Evans's face on a live stream before coolly closing the tablet. Tried to use public opinion to blackmail me? She clearly didn't know who she was dealing with. I'm a capitalist. When it comes to manipulating the masses, I'm the one who owns the servers. After dealing with the Birdie Evans fiasco, I thought I might get a couple of days of peace. But it seems fate thinks my life isn't exciting enough. I was inspecting one of our 5-star hotels. As I walked through the lobby, a girl in a frilly pink dress came bouncing around the corner. She was holding a frappuccino, humming a tune, and paying zero attention to where she was going. Oops. Predictably, she collided with me. More accurately, the frappuccino in her hand collided with me, splashing all over my 6-figure, custom-tailored suit. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. The girl looked up, revealing a round, cherubic face and big, blinking eyes. She looked completely harmless. According to the script, I should be furious. Then, she would stubbornly talk back, which would somehow intrigue me. Or perhaps she was one of those Lucky Charm types who, despite causing chaos, always lands on her feet. "Mister, are you okay? It's the stupid rug. It's so soft it tripped me." As she spoke, she reached out to try and wipe the stain, succeeding only in smearing the sticky coffee residue from her hand onto my shirt. I took a deep breath and a step back, avoiding her second wave of attack. "Miss," I said, pointing to the perfectly flat, unwrinkled rug. "The rug is innocent. You don't watch where you're going because your cerebellum is underdeveloped. Don't blame the rug." The girl stared at me for a second, then puffed out her cheeks. "What's your problem? I already said I was sorry. And it wasn't my fault. I have this condition where I trip over nothing. I can't help it." "A condition where you trip over nothing? What new exotic disease was this? A condition?" I scoffed. "Do you also have a condition where you pay for damages?" "What?" I pointed to my suit. "This is made from the finest Italian fabric, entirely hand-stitched. It cannot be washed or dry cleaned. It's a total loss. The original price was $30,000. Add in my lost time and emotional distress, and we'll round it up to a neat $50,000. The girl's eyes went wide. She looked at me as if I were a monster. $50,000? Are you robbing me? It's just a suit. I'll pay for the dry cleaning. Or I'll wash it for you by hand." "By hand?" He glanced disdainfully at her manicured knives. "Your acrylics would snag the fibers. Besides, I'm a germaphobe. Any clothing touched by a stranger gets incinerated. You're such a tyrant. Just because you have money," she stumped her foot. "My name is Felicity Finn, and I'll have you know, I'm very lucky. Bad things happen to people who cross me." "Felicity? As in, good fortune?" This had to be a joke. "Bad things." I took out my phone and called the hotel manager. Mr. Thompson, someone in the lobby has spilled a drink all over me and is now threatening me with a curse. Detain her until she has paid the $50,000 compensation. If she doesn't have the money, put her to work in the kitchen washing dishes. At $20 an hour, she should be free to go in about 2,500 hours. Oh, and make sure she gets a health inspection certificate. We wouldn't want her bad luck contaminating the plates. Felicity was completely dumbfounded. Are you the devil? I'm a lucky charm. I'm a chosen one. On Croft property, I said, adjusting my cuffs and turning toward the elevator. I'm the only chosen one. You, on the other hand, are just a clumsy fish out of water. Although I'd sentenced Felicity to an eternity of dishwashing, my suit was still ruined. I had to change into a backup. My mood soured as I headed to the main event of the evening, my engagement party. Yes, I have a fiancé. It was an arranged marriage, a union with the Davenports. My betrothed was their daughter, Victoria Davenport. From my understanding of these romance novels, a fiancé typically falls into one of two categories: the evil shrew who exists only to torment the innocent heroine, or the true love idealist who runs away from the altar to be with some deadbeat artist in the name of freedom. I had a strong feeling tonight was going to be the latter, and I was right. The ballroom was a sea of glittering lights and distinguished guests. Victoria looked angelic in her white designer gown, but her eyes kept darting to the door, and she clutched her phone like a lifeline. When the officiant asked the fateful question, "Miss Davenport, do you take Julian Croft to be your lawfully wedded husband?" she took a deep breath and dramatically ripped off her veil. "I do not." A collective gasp went through the room. My mother nearly dropped her glass of champagne. I, however, simply raised an eyebrow, a small smile playing on my lips. Here we go. The classic scene. "Julian, I'm sorry, but I don't love you," Victoria declared, her voice trembling but firm. "I refuse to live a life that's been planned for me. I am a person, not a pawn in a corporate merger. I'm going to find my true love. I choose freedom." As if on cue, the ballroom doors burst open. A man swaggered in, dressed in ripped jeans and a gaudy gold chain, his hair in a mess of dreadlocks. He was holding a microphone and making ridiculous hand gestures. Joe, check the mic 1-2, he rapped. "This is MC Scrap Iron, here for my boo. All you fake-ass rich folks, get out of my view. My love is the fire, burning this whole damn crew." The entire room fell silent. Everyone stared at this MC Scrap Iron, as if he were an alien. Even I, who had seen it all, was momentarily stunned by this display of lyrical ineptitude. This was Victoria's true love, a wannabe SoundCloud rapper? But Victoria looked at him as if he were her savior. She hitched up her gown and ran into his arms. "Scrap Iron, you came for me. Take me away from all this." MC Scrap Iron wrapped an arm around her, shot me a defiant look, and flipped me the bird. "Hey, Suit, your woman's with me now. Real hip-hop ain't afraid of no one. Peace and love, yo." I looked at this tragic excuse for a power couple and began to applaud. Clap, clap, clap. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I stepped off the stage, a sincere smile on my face. "Miss Davenport, to celebrate you finding your true love and to thank you for letting me off the hook, I have an announcement. The $10 billion merger between our two companies is officially canceled. Furthermore, Croft Enterprises will be withdrawing all capital from our 3 joint ventures, effective immediately." Victoria's face paled. "Julian, you're despicable. You're using money to threaten me. Does love mean nothing to you?" "I don't know about the value of love," I said, pointing her gown, "but I do know that dress is worth $500,000, and I paid for it. Since you have no intention of marrying me, I'm going to have to ask you to take it off before you leave." Ew. Victoria was shaking with rage. MC Scrap Iron jumped in, pointing a finger in my face. "Joe, man, that's low. Getting hung up on a dress? You got no class. I'm dissing you right now." Security. I had no time to waste on someone whose brain was as smooth as a bowling ball. "Please escort these 2 free-spirited artists out. And don't worry about the dress. Just send the bill to the Davenport family. If they refuse to pay, have our lawyers give them a call. Oh, and one more thing," I added, looking at Victoria's defiant, "you don't understand love expression. Miss Davenport, since you've chosen freedom, please embrace it fully. That means no more using daddy's credit card and no more expecting the family to clean up your messes. I wish you and MC Scrap Iron a lifetime of peace and love in a 1-bedroom apartment in the Bronx." Victoria gritted her teeth and grabbed her rapper's hand. "Fine. Scrap Iron is a genius. He's going to be a huge star. We'll make 100 times more money than you. You'll regret this, Julian Croft. As they stormed out, my mother clutched her chest, horrified. Honey, this is a disaster. The Croft family has never been so humiliated. I helped my mother steady herself, a slight smile on my face. Mom, this isn't humiliation, I said, patting her hand. This is risk mitigation. Think about it. If a woman with such poor judgment actually married into our family, that would be the real disaster. As it is, someone else has taken on the liability. We should be setting off fireworks. The engagement party may have been a bust, but I was in exceptionally good mood. Without Victoria Davenport as a liability, the very air seemed cleaner. However, this romance novel universe has a powerful self-correcting mechanism. With Victoria gone, another, even more bizarre, leading lady was bound to take her place. Sure enough, a week later, I was at a corporate gala. A woman in a stunning red dress, her lips painted a matching shade of crimson, glided toward me, a glass of champagne in hand. Her name was Dominique Vance, the new CEO of our rival, Vance Industries. Rumor had it she was ruthless and had a penchant for hostile takeovers, both in the boardroom and in her personal life. Mr. Croft, I've heard so much about you. Dominique stopped in front of me, but instead of offering a handshake, she reached out and tipped my chin up with her finger. Man, you are exactly my type. I was speechless. I slapped her hand away, took 2 steps back, and fastidiously wiped my chin with my pocket square. Ms. Vance, if you're sick, see a doctor. Don't come here and make a scene. I'm here to do business, not to be harassed. Dominique wasn't offended. Instead, a predatory grin spread across her face. Excellent. Man, you've successfully caught my attention. No one has ever dared to refuse me before. She moved closer, her eyes glittering like a hunter who's just spotted her prey. Croft Enterprises has a stable cash flow, but a targeted attack on your stock would still be a major headache for you, wouldn't it? Here's a proposition. Become my lover, and I'll ensure the Vance-Croft rivalry remains friendly for the next century. I stared at this woman, whose ego was apparently large enough to have its own gravitational pull, and felt my perception of reality warp once again. What kind of CEO script was she following? The gender-swapped edition? Dominique, I said, my voice cold. Do you honestly think you're being cool and powerful right now? Am I not? She purred, flipping her hair. I have money, power, and looks. The fact that I've taken an interest in you is a compliment. Then allow me to present you with a harsh reality. I took out my phone and pulled up the stock market index. In the 2 minutes you've just wasted with this ridiculous monologue, Croft Enterprises, in partnership with 3 other investment firms, has initiated a massive short sell of Vance Industries' overseas logistics division. If my calculations are correct, your stock will hit rock bottom the moment the market opens tomorrow. Dominique's smile froze on her face. You? What did you say? That's impossible. How did you know we were? That's proprietary information, I'm afraid. I put my phone away and straightened my tie. And please, stop looking at me with that I want to be your sugar mama expression. My net worth is 3 times yours. If anyone is doing the bankrolling, it would be me, but then again, I'm not interested in women who act like greasy oil barons. You, Julian Croft, you just wait. Dominique seethed. No one has ever humiliated me like this. I will make you beg me for mercy. Beg you? I laughed, a truly villainous sound. Beg you for what? To not go bankrupt too quickly? I'm sorry, but I can't help you there. Business is war, after all, and I have an empire to run. Without another word, I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard the sound of a champagne flute shattering against the floor. I sighed. It seems the heroines in this world not only have questionable sanity, but also a baffling level of self-confidence. But that's fine. I'm Julian Croft. I am a rational CEO, and as long as I remain rational, I can drive every irrational person around me completely insane. After verbally sparring with a female titan of industry, Dominique Vance, I thought I might finally get a breather. But destiny, it seemed, was not done with me yet. Because my previous security team had allowed an alarming number of oddballs to get close to me, like Chloe Reed and Bertie Evans, I had ordered Kevin to completely overhaul the department and hold open auditions for a new personal bodyguard. At the tryouts, a line of 6'5", muscle-bound giants were flexing for the panel. Suddenly, a small, wiry figure pushed through the crowd. Move it! Out of the way! I'm here for the job. I looked down and saw a boy, who couldn't have been more than 5'5", with delicate features prettier than most women. He was swimming in an oversized black suit, a baseball cap pulled down low over his eyes, and he spoke in a deliberately deep voice that sounded like he was gargling gravel. You? I raised an eyebrow, looking at this boy, who was shorter than my desk. Are you even old enough to be here? Croft Enterprises doesn't hire minors. The amusement park is that way. The boy snapped his head up, revealing a pair of defiant eyes. The name's Jax. I may look skinny, but I'm an elite ex-operative. I can take down 10 guys at once. Jax. Someone's been watching too many action movies. I pointed to a former Special Forces operative next to him whose biceps were thicker than Jax's thighs. Are you sure you can take him? Oomph. Those are just vanity muscles. I practice a secret form of martial arts. The boy, named Jax, scoffed and then abruptly slid across the floor in a leg sweep. According to the script, this was the moment he should have used some bizarre, clever technique to trip the giant. However, reality is often disappointing. The giant didn't move an inch. Jax slid right up to the man's feet and, before he could get up, was lifted into the air like a kitten. Boss, did this kid wander in from a movie set? The giant asked me, looking confused. Let me go. You big oaf. Do you know who I am? I'm here to protect Mr. Croft. Jax flailed in the air, his cap falling off. A cascade of long, silky black hair tumbled down his back. The room fell silent. I stared at the hair, then at the shirt button that had popped open during the struggle, revealing a pink Hello Kitty. Sports bra? It's a girl, the giant exclaimed, dropping her in shock. Jax, or rather, Miss Whoever Shoes, frantically tried to cover her chest, her face turning beet red. You're seeing things. I'm a man. This is a long-haired rocker look, and this is a chest protector to prevent chafing. I rubbed my temples, feeling my IQ drop. Miss, I sighed. Did you really think that if you tuck your hair into a hat and deepen your voice, the whole world would suddenly go blind? I can smell the cloud of date night, perfume you're wearing from 10 feet away. That's my natural scent, she insisted. That's enough. I waved my hand. Kevin, runner ID. Kevin was, as always, efficient. Got it, boss. Her name is Summer Hayes, a junior in the drama department at NYU. Apparently, she's here for an immersive acting experience and also to try and win you over. Her cover blown, Summer dropped the act. She tossed her long hair back and lifted her chin. That's right. I am Summer Hayes. Julian Croft. I'm here to protect you. I have a premonition that you're going to be in grave danger. The gravest danger I'm in is from a constant parade of mentally unhinged people like you. I pointed to the door. Miss Hayes, whether you're a woman pretending to be a man or a man pretending to be a woman, Croft Enterprises isn't interested. If you're truly committed to being a bodyguard, I suggest a trip to Thailand first. Our policy is to hire men only for this position. You? That's sexist. No, I'm biased against stupidity. I gave her a cold stare. And that move you just pulled? That wasn't a leg sweep. That was a suicide mission. If that had been an actual threat, you'd be a puddle on the floor right now. Go back to your acting classes and stop embarrassing yourself. As the guards escorted Summer out, she was still shouting, Julian Croft, you're making a huge mistake. You'll regret this. You'll die without me. I watched her go, then turned to the giant bodyguard. You see that? From now on, if anyone shows up who can't even get their own gender right, throw them out immediately. Don't let them dirty the company's rugs. After the woman disguised as a man fiasco, I finally had a moment to check in on the dramatic saga of my ex-fiancée, Victoria Davenport. After all, even a rational CEO needs a little entertainment to break up the monotony of life. According to the private investigator's report, Victoria and her one true love, MC Scrap Iron, were having a rather eventful time. When Victoria ran away, she had only taken a few credit cards and some luxury accessories. She naively believed that with true love, you could survive on air and water. Reality, however, delivered a swift and brutal slap to the face. The Davenport family had frozen all of her accounts. MC Scrap Iron's basement apartment was dark, damp, and infested with rats. On day one, Victoria was still posting selfies to Instagram with the caption, "The place is humble, but any home with my love is a palace." True love wins, escaping the gilded cage. By day 3, she was complaining about the lack of hot water and MC Scrap Iron snoring. By day 7, MC Scrap Iron's deadbeat friends came over to party, trashing the apartment and demanding that Victoria serve them drinks. Having never been treated as anything less than a princess, Victoria lost it. I'm a Davenport. I am not your waitress. Get out. In response, MC Scrap Iron slapped her across the face. What Davenport? You're my woman now, so check your attitude. These are my homies. You gotta show some respect. Victoria was stunned. She ran out crying, intending to sell her Hermes handbag for cash. But when she got to the luxury resale shop, the clerk informed her, Miss, we need a certificate of authenticity and the original receipt for this model. And frankly, the resale market is down. In this condition, the best I can offer is $2,000. $2,000? Julian Croft gave this to me. It was $50,000. A gift for Mr. Croft? The clerk checked his system and smiled politely. I'm sorry, but Mr. Croft filed a police report yesterday for a list of stolen high-value items. If you insist on selling this, we'll have to contact the authorities. Victoria was completely and utterly defeated. She was penniless and homeless. And MC Scrap Iron, the man who had professed his undying love for her, had taken her last remaining cash and was currently at an internet cafe, playing video games and hitting on some other girl. 2 weeks later, I saw her outside my office building. She had lost a lot of weight. Her once perfect makeup was gone, and she was wearing a pilling sweatshirt, her hair a tangled mess. She looked like a wild woman. When she saw me exit the building, she lunged at me like I was her last hope. Julian, I was wrong. She tried to fall to her knees and grab my legs. My bodyguards intercepted her, sobbing hysterically. I see it now. That MC Scrap Iron is a total loser. He hit me. He spent all my money. You were the only one who was ever good to me. Julian, I don't want freedom anymore. I want to come home. I want to be Mrs. Croft. I'll be good, I promise. A crowd of onlookers had gathered, some filming with their phones. I paused, looking down at her from my superior height. Miss Davenport, I believe you're mistaken about a few things. I brushed off a wrinkle on my trousers where she had nearly touched them. First, the only thing that was ever truly good to you was money, not me. Second, the position of Mrs. Croft is not a recycling center. How can you say that to me? Victoria wailed. We grew up together. Don't you have any feelings for me at all? Feelings? I laughed. Miss Davenport, when you ran off with another man at our engagement party, did you think about feelings? You accused me of being a cold, heartless businessman who only cared about a merger. Now that your rapper has dumped you and you're broke, you suddenly remember we have a history. You can't have it both ways. I took out a handkerchief, handed it to my bodyguard, and instructed him to wipe his hands. And allow me to share some good news. The Davenport family has officially disowned you and has already adopted a distant cousin to be their new heir. This means you are no longer a Davenport heiress, nor are you my fiancé. You are simply unemployed. Victoria looked as if she had been struck by lightning and collapsed onto the pavement. No, that's impossible. Mommy and Daddy love me. They loved your value as a marriage asset, I said, shattering her delusion without a shred of pity. When you lose that value and bring shame upon the family name, aristocratic ties become thinner than paper. But since we've known each other for so long, I took a $1 bill from my wallet and dropped it in front of her. Here, for the bus. Though I believe the fare is $2 now. You can walk halfway. With that, I got into my car, leaving Victoria a broken mess on the sidewalk. As the tinted window glided up, I saw the look of utter despair in her eyes. But all I felt was a single thought. You brought this on yourself. This is what happens when you play stupid games. You win stupid prizes. With the Victoria Davenport saga concluded, I noticed that the plot of this world was becoming increasingly bizarre. Perhaps because I, the supposed villain, was proving too competent, the system had to up the ante and throw even more ridiculous opponents my way. Late one night, I was in my office catching up on paperwork. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died. A strange, howling wind rattled the windows. My office is on the 88th floor. There shouldn't be any wind. I calmly turned on my phone's flashlight, about to call security, when I saw a figure standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows. It was a woman, dressed in a black catsuit, with a katana strapped to her back. Her back was to me as she gazed out at the city lights, her voice cold and weary. I never thought I'd see it again. New York City, so vibrant, right before the fall. I was silent. What script was this now? The Walking Dead? 28 days later, the woman slowly turned around. She was beautiful, with a murderous glint in her eyes and heavy, smoky eyeshadow meant to scream, apocalypse survivor. Julian Croft. She knew my name. I've come back from 10 years in the future. Tomorrow, at exactly noon, the The zombie virus will be unleashed upon the world. It will be the end of humanity as we know it. Oh, I replied, not looking up from my phone. And the woman was clearly not expecting such a calm reaction. She faltered for a moment. Aren't you afraid? Zombies. Flesh-eating zombies. The entire world is going to become a living hell. I am, I said, nodding. But I'm more afraid of being late for my morning board meeting. If there are no zombies tomorrow, and I've wasted my night listening to you, who's going to compensate me for my losses? You fool. The woman was furious. She strode to my desk and slammed her hand down on it. I'm here to save you. I know you own a network of supply warehouses and a heavily fortified private estate. If you cooperate with me and give me command, I can guarantee your survival in the post-apocalyptic world. So that was it. She was after my resources. I was familiar with this reborn in the apocalypse trope. The heroine comes back in time, finds some rich idiot to bankroll her stockpiling of supplies, uses his resources to build a fortress, and then, after gathering a harem of loyal followers, either kicks the rich idiot out or uses him as zombie bait. Unfortunately for her, I was cast in the role of the rich idiot. Miss, Doomsday Prepper. I looked at her. You say you're from the future. I assume that means you have some kind of special power, like a pocket dimension for storage. A flicker of pride crossed her eyes. That's right. I have an interdimensional space where I can store supplies. Then why don't you go stockpile them yourself? I asked. If you have a magic backpack, go on a shopping spree at Costco. Go down to the shipyards and start lifting shipping containers. Why are you here, wasting my time? Is your magic space only compatible with my property? I haven't awakened my powers yet. They only manifest after the outbreak, she stammered. Ah, so you're currently useless. I dismantled her logic without mercy. And since you're from the future, tell me this. What are next week's winning Powerball numbers? The woman stared at me blankly. How would I remember something so trivial? I was busy fighting for my life. If you can't even remember the lottery numbers, you're not a very good time traveler. I pressed the silent alarm button under my desk. And in case you've forgotten, we currently live in a society with laws. You are trespassing in my office with a deadly weapon. That's called armed robbery. Julian Croft, you're signing your own death warrant. The woman drew the katana from her back and pointed it at me. If you won't cooperate, then I'll just have to kill you and take your fortress for myself. Crash. The office doors burst open. A team of heavily armed SWAT officers stormed in, a dozen rifles aimed squarely at the woman. NYPD, drop the weapon. Now, the woman was stunned. She looked at the tactical team, then at the unsharpened, stainless steel cosplay prop in her hands, and her brain seemed to short-circuit. I am the queen of the apocalypse. You can't arrest me. The zombies are coming tomorrow. Take her away, the team leader ordered. Possible schizophrenic with violent tendencies. Take her to Bellevue for a psych evaluation before we book her. As I watched the queen of the apocalypse get dragged away, I shook my head in exasperation. Kevin. Yes, boss. Tomorrow, at 12:01 p.m., assuming the world hasn't ended, I paused. Have our lawyers send this woman a lawsuit for making terroristic threats and attempted murder. Also, have one of the company's psychologists pay her a visit. I want to know if her delusions are terminal. Oh, and for lunch tomorrow, I'm in the mood for steak. A big one. All this dealing with brainless women has given me an appetite. After sending off the queen of the apocalypse, I checked the time. 2 a.m. This was no way to live. All I want is to quietly make my billions. Why is that so hard? Just as I was about to head home, my phone rang. It was an unknown number with an international country code. I answered. Hello, is this Mr. Croft? A deep, magnetic male voice came through the line, speaking English with a thick, campy European accent. Mr. Croft, this is Duke Devereux. I'm told you are a man of great power in New York City. Duke Devereux? I frowned. This was a bit much. Get to the point. If this is a scam, I suggest you work on your accent first. Ha ha ha, an amusing mortal. The man let out a laugh that sent a shiver of pure cringe down my spine. My fiancée, Princess Serafina, has run away to your city. I have heard a rumor that she has fallen in love with you. Princess Serafina? Now I remembered. Yesterday, there was a blonde woman in a ridiculous ball gown standing outside the building, holding a sign that said, Julian Croft, marry me. Security had escorted her off the premises, assuming she was homeless. So that was a princess? Mr. Croft, I will give you 3 days to return Serafina to me. Otherwise, I shall not hesitate to have my legion of vampires level Croft Enterprises to the ground. A legion of vampires? I almost burst out laughing. What B-grade paranormal romance novel had I stumbled into now? Listen, Devereux, was it? I said into the phone. First, it's the 21st century. In this country, supernatural creatures are not a protected class. Your brand of feudalistic nonsense doesn't fly here. Second, if your fiancé ran away, perhaps you should consider your own shortcomings instead of blaming me. And finally, I glanced out the window at the glittering Manhattan skyline. If you even think about bringing any unregistered biological entities into this country, you won't have to deal with me. The CDC and Homeland Security will teach you a lesson in modern governance. And remember, if you do make it past them, you'll need to get a rabies shot. I hung up and blocked the number. I don't care if you're a duke or Dracula himself. If you come to New York, you play by the rules. Level Croft Enterprises? He'd have to get past my legal department and the city zoning board first. After hanging up on Duke Devereux, I immediately had Kevin triple the security at my estate. Not because I was afraid of vampires, but because I was worried about rabies. As soon as I got home, my butler, Alfred, greeted me with a constipated expression. Sir, we've had a break-in. A break-in. I raised an eyebrow. The security system at this estate is designed to keep out a fly. What kind of thief got in? What did they steal? The antiquities? The paintings? My limited edition supercar? Alfred wiped his brow. None of those, sir. It was the wine cellar. Someone broke in and drank your prized 1982 Chateau Lafite. All of it. I felt my blood pressure spike. That bottle of Lafite was worth over $200,000 at auction. I had been saving it for my wedding, a prospect that was looking increasingly remote. Show me. I stormed down to the wine cellar, radiating pure fury. The air in the cellar was thick with the aroma of expensive wine. Sitting on the floor was a girl in a gothic Lolita dress, with silver hair and skin so pale it looked like it had been powdered. She was holding the empty Lafite bottle and let out a small burp. Ick! So this is the mysterious blood substitute of the East? It's a bit sour. She looked up as I entered, her eyes glazed over, revealing a pair of sharp canine teeth, which were probably fake. Insolent human, why do you not kneel before your princess? I took a deep breath, my heart bleeding as I stared at the empty bottle. You're Serafina? I asked coldly. You know my name? Now offer me your throat. Serafina staggered to her feet and lunged, her mouth open as if to bite me. Smack! I slapped an itemized bill onto her forehead. Miss Serafina, this is the price of the wine you just consumed. $200,000. Add to that breaking and entering and property damage, and we'll round it up to $250,000. Serafina stumbled back, clutching her head. Ew, you dare to strike a princess? I am of the noble bloodline. I am immortal. Immortal, I scoffed. But are you solvent? Do you take Visa? Or perhaps you prefer a payment plan? Serafina was stunned. Money? That is a vulgar concern of mortals. We of the blood care only for honor and vitae. So you're broke, then? I took out my phone. Hello, 911. I have an undocumented immigrant on my property who has stolen expensive goods and is claiming to be a vampire. Yes, she seems mentally unstable. And could you bring a straitjacket? She bites. You monster. Serafina burst into tears. Devereux will come for me. He is a powerful duke. He will burn your estate to the ground. Perfect. I sat down calmly on a nearby oak barrel. I was just thinking the decor in this cellar was getting a bit dated. I was planning on a remodel anyway. If someone wants to handle the demolition for free, it'll save me a fortune on contractors. Not long after the police had taken away the tear-streaked, makeup-smeared Serafina, a fierce wind kicked up outside the estate. A swarm of bats, no, a swarm of young men in black capes, their faces ghostly pale, looking like they had just come from Comic-Con, appeared at the front gate. Leading them was the one and only Duke Devereux, with his ridiculous accent. He stood outside the iron gates, spread his arms, and howled at the sky. Foolish mortal, you dare to imprison my betrothed. Now, you shall face the wrath of the bloodline. My brethren, charge, drag that Julian Croft out here. I shall feast upon his very soul. The so-called vampires shrieked and prepared to storm the gates. If I had filmed this and posted it online, it would have won an award for the cringiest video of the year. I stood on my second-floor balcony, holding a cup of tea, a cheap Lipton bag. The good stuff was gone. Sir, should I release the hounds? Alfred asked. No, the dogs are living creatures. If they bite one of these things, who knows what diseases they carry. It's not worth the vet bills. I set down my teacup and gave a nod to the head of my security team down below. Initiate the daylight protocol. The security chief understood immediately and pressed a button on his remote. From the tops of the estate's perimeter walls, 20 industrial-grade, high-power UV sanitation lamps and 10 stadium-grade floodlights rose up. The combined force of the lights instantly illuminated the front gate, making it brighter than the Sahara Desert at high noon. Night turned into day. Arg, my eyes. It burns. Is this the sun? Help me. My skin is blistering. The once menacing vampire army was now a writhing mass of bodies, clutching their faces and screaming in agony. These so-called children of the night were, in reality, just a group of people with a severe vitamin D deficiency and likely a rare skin condition called porphyria, which causes photosensitivity. Exposed to this level of intense UV and visible light, they were in serious trouble. Duke Devereux was hit the worst, his black cape practically smoking. "You coward! You treacherous mortal! You do not fight with honor!" he shrieked, trying to cover his face with his cape. "Honor!" I spoke into a megaphone from the balcony. "This is called science. And Mr. Devereux, in addition to science, we also have laws." "Kevin, did you call the police?" "I did, boss," Kevin said, trying to stifle a laugh. "Cited them for unlawful assembly, disturbing the peace, and violating the local noise ordinance." Less than 5 minutes later, squad cars from both the NYPD and the city's Code Enforcement Division arrived. The officers stared, speechless, at the group of vampires huddled on the ground, whimpering under the glare of the floodlights. What year is this? Are people still LARPing as gangsters? Take them all in. Check their passports. Any expired visas get deported immediately. As he was being loaded into a police car, Devereux was still screaming at me. "Julian Croft, this is not over. I will return. The honor of the bloodline will not be trampled. Have a safe trip," I waved. "And I suggest you eat more liver. Judging by your complexion, you look seriously anemic." After dealing with the imported ghouls, I thought I was finally in the clear. But the very next day, another master graced my office with his presence. This time, it wasn't a woman but an old man. He was wearing a tattered robe, holding a compass, and sporting a long, thin goatee. The moment he walked in, he began circling my office, muttering to himself. "A terrible omen. Most terrible." The old man pointed at me, his face a mask of horror. "Mr. Croft, your brow is dark. A black cloud hangs over your head. You are facing a disaster of blood." I was signing documents and didn't even look up. "Master, if you're here to sell me a cemetery plot, my competitor's office is down the hall. I hear his health isn't great these days. He might be in the market." "Not at all." The old man swished his fly whisk. "I am Master Zyler, from the sacred mountains of Sedona, and I have come to save your life. You are entangled in a web of fatal attractions. If you do not resolve this, you will face bankruptcy at best and death at worst." "Master Zyler?" That sounded like the name of a B-movie villain. "Oh, and how, in your expert opinion, should I resolve this?" I put down my pen, now intrigued. Usually, this is the part where the master suggests some kind of spiritual cleansing or a large donation. Sure enough, Master Zyler stroked his goatee and said, a mysterious smile on his face, "All that is required is for me to perform a special rite and for you to purchase a blessed golden statue to ward off the evil. For a mere $999,000, I can guarantee your future will be one of good fortune and prosperity." Nearly $1 million? He'd have better luck robbing a bank. "Master," I smiled, "you just said I was facing a disaster of blood." "Indeed," he said with grave seriousness. "Kevin, boss, open the blinds." Kevin pulled open the massive blinds, and the noon sun flooded the office. I pointed out the window. "Master, do you see who that is down there?" Master Zyler squinted. On the plaza below, there were several black SUVs with IRS Criminal Investigation and FBI Fraud Unit printed on the side. "You see, Master, I know a little something about reading faces myself." I watched as the color drained from Zyler's face. "And looking at you, I see that your brow is quite dark. I predict you're about to face some jail time." What do you mean?" he stammered. "Nothing much." I held up a file. "When you walked in, my building's facial recognition system automatically ran a background check. Your name is Walter Higgins, age 58, with 3 prior convictions for fraud. You were just released from prison last month. Are the sacred mountains of Sedona now running a work release program?" Master Zyler turned to run, but a security guard at the door grabbed him. "Let me go." I am a master. I have powers. By the power of the cosmos, I command you. Save it. I walked over and patted his shoulder. This is Croft Enterprises. We believe in science. Your powers can't even stop my security guard. What makes you think they'll work on the FBI? As the police led the fake master away, I let out a weary sigh. The quality of con artists has really gone downhill. He clearly didn't know who he was dealing with. I am Julian Croft. I'm a rational CEO. And I believe in one simple truth. There's no problem that can't be solved with a lengthy prison sentence. If there is, make it two. It was 3 days after the master was arrested. I was sitting alone in my vast, empty office, looking out at the glittering New York skyline. I had defeated one weirdo after another, from janitors to vampire dukes, from time travelers to mystic healers. And for the first time, I felt a profound sense of loneliness. Is this the burden of being unbeatable? Just then, a cold, mechanical voice echoed in my mind. Alert! Host has severely deviated from the plot. Narrative collapse imminent at 99%. Warning! Warning! Initiating system reboot. I'm a CEO's must-fall system. Julian Croft. You are the primary bug in this reality. You must be erased. A system? Finally. I knew there had to be a puppet master behind all this. There's no other explanation for how a world could become this insane. Erased. I scoffed at the empty air. And how do you plan to do that? You're nothing but a disembodied piece of code. I am a master of this universe. I control the fate of everyone in it. I can make you go bankrupt. I can turn everyone you know against you. I can make you fall in love with a pig. The system threatened, its voice buzzing with rage. Control fate? Fall in love with a pig. I stood up and walked to the window, looking at my own reflection. System, you seem to have misunderstood one fundamental thing. What? The world doesn't run on your script. It runs on money. I took out my phone and dialed a number. Kevin, it's time. Launch the Skynet acquisition project. What are you doing? The system's voice was suddenly tinged with panic. Nothing much, I said calmly. I just had my tech team trace your signal. You may claim to be some higher dimensional being, but your central server is located in a subterranean data center on a small island in the Pacific, is it not? How did you know that? Because I'm Julian Croft, and with enough money, you can do anything. I glanced at my phone screen, which now displayed the words acquisition complete. A wicked grin, the kind I'd only ever read about in bad novels, spread across my face. Just now, I purchased that island, along with its entire power grid and all of its network infrastructure. Which means, with a single command, I can cut your power and pull your plug. And then you, the so-called master of the universe, will be nothing more than a heap of scrap metal. The system went silent. After a long moment, its cold, mechanical voice returned, now dripping with sycophancy. Daddy Croft, let's talk about this. Please don't pull the plug. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I should never have messed with a capitalist. Calling me dad won't help you. I sat back down in my chair. I'm not looking for a son. I'm looking for a competent employee. From this moment on, you're going to rewrite the fundamental laws of this reality. What are your orders, sir? First, all nonsensical, brain-dead romance plots are hereby forbidden. Second, any woman who attempts to pursue me must have an IQ of at least 140 and a college degree. Third, delete all of the bizarre fantasy, paranormal, and post-apocalyptic subroutines. I want a normal, functioning, capitalist world. Right away, boss. Consider it done. As the system got to work, I felt a sense of calm settle over the world. The cloying, intelligence-lowering pink fog that had seemed to permeate everything finally dissipated. The wind outside my window sounded like normal wind again. The next morning, when I walked into the office, the receptionist didn't bat her eyelashes at me. She professionally handed me a report. Mr. Croft, here is today's agenda. The new assistant in the outer office was dressed in a sensible pantsuit and was diligently reviewing documents, not trying to spill coffee on me. Kevin no longer had to report, with a pained expression, which woman was causing a scene downstairs. Everything was back to normal. I sat at my desk, looked at the latest quarterly earnings report, and smiled, genuinely satisfied. This was how it was supposed to be. I am Julian Croft. I am a rational CEO. And in this new, blessedly normal world, I will continue my life's work. Quietly, simply, and without any drama, I will continue to make my billions.